Hi guys, today I'll be talking about communication research recommendation for mitigating food insecurity in Ghana. So I am going to give a little recap of what I have spoken about so far. And in my previous papers, I made mention that the issue of food insecurity in Africa has become a crisis that is worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, and that there is a necessary effort to not only think about agriculture being the problem here, but also the way that we can communicate this crisis across diverse cultures in the landscape of Sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana. So I am looking at a research on messaging about sustainable farming practices, which will give the country a proper framework to tackle the systematic mess that I mentioned in my previous paper that kind of aligns Ghana's agriculture sector. Because my analysis found that this fundamental issue has really caused the country many economic inflations and other health complications since the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, even though, food insecurity issue is arising and probably not felt as much as it's probably not felt in Western world as compared to countries in Sub-Saharan Africa. I feel like its effects on the people are really there and needs to be addressed strategically to prevent any further complication. Another thing that I found was that communicating the topic of food insecurity to a culturally diverse country like Ghana may not benefit everyone, especially if the messaging that is being given is a message designed for one for all, a campaign messaging that is a one for all campaign message. Also, I realized that in order for leaders to kind of manage and mitigate the effect of cultural differences and food insecurity and issue arising, they tend to give out inconsistent messaging that can send out misinformation or even create confusion among the people. I think there is a gap here to finding the ways to communicate the issue of food insecurity to the people in a culturally sensitive manner to change the goal of to achieve a collective goal that will yield actions that can change the food insecurity narrative in Ghana. With this, I will be adapting the Selna, Richmond, and Lukakovic framework, which posits that mega crisis is characterized by their widespread global impact and involve multiple systems which affects diverse social cultural groups. So therefore, communicators must be adept at navigating the cultural differences and tailoring messaging for a diverse audience. Apart from Lukakovic and Selna Richmond's framework, I will also be using a conceptual framework for food insecurity intervention in Africa proposed in a study by Mawenki. The name is a little tricky. So Mawenki mentioned the collective need for Africa to be actively involved in policies that directly affect them, and this includes food preservation at the village level, alternative medicines to make health more affordable to the people, and also create an efficient agriculture extension. And as part of that, it will help to create the option of improving the health of the people. And for me to make an understanding of this, I think that the research must be grounded in cultural sensitivity to highlight the importance of effective communication. That is all that it means, because already Africa is making efforts to tackle their issue with agriculture and health and all that. So if there is a communication that is tailored culturally to penetrate through all these cultural barriers, it will be it can help in sending out the message out there that can create a positive impact on the people to change the way they practice certain things, and also try to mitigate the effect of food insecurity. Another issue that came up that can be tackled with Selna Richmond and Lukakovic's framework is also the fact that during the COVID, farmers whose age are usually between the ages of 50 to 60 suffered a severe hit, because COVID was more prevalent in people in those ages. Another thing that also happened was the fact that the youth at that time were not seriously interested in farming activities. So what happened was that the farming population reduced drastically. So I think that there should be a research to find out what is happening in the media, because most of the youth rely on information from the media. So finding out what is happening in the media that is causing the youth not to fancy the farming industry can also play a very big role for us to understand what is going on. And so I propose a strategic communication research that seeks to find the most impactful ways of reaching the youth where they are. And with that, we can address the matters arising about food insecurity in the country and what it means for the future. The outcome of this research may provide beneficial viewpoints of the youth concerning why they are uninterested in farming, how farming is being portrayed, as I mentioned before, how farming is being portrayed in the media, and the best ways to develop agricultural communications to shape and change the narrative. I also propose a research that advocates a participatory and multi-methodological approach. Participatory action research, which uses an activist practice to produce knowledge while engaging broad community stakeholders, will be meaningful for this kind of social change. And in that sense, we engaging the youth, women, community leaders, and government officials as co-researchers will be crucial for ensuring that communication strategies are culturally relevant and empowering. So in a nutshell, I believe that if there should even be the research that I am proposing, if there should be one, should also focus on engaging the people to find out the nuances in their various cultures, so that messaging or the communication that could be sent out in the future to mitigate the effect of food insecurity will not be a wasted effort, but it will be designed in such a way that anybody who hears it can relate to it and understand the impact of the messaging in them. This is what I am recommending. If you have any questions, you can shoot it under my box and I will be happy to respond. Thank you.